Good morning everybody, or good afternoon depending where you are in the world. I hope you've had a great weekend. Welcome back to Bear Engines. Right then guys, you can see I've got 3 of the pistons in now and they've all been machined. So what did we find? I obviously did a dummy build, put a standard piston in, obviously with our cutouts, measured it. Obviously we've had to take 30 thou off this block face because we got almost 30 thou of the grooves for the wire rings that we had to take out of there. So these pistons are usually about 20 thou proud already. So we want to end up with 12 thou protrusion. So I've worked it out that we've got to take off 34 thou off of these pistons. So I'm just doing the 4th one now, so we'll head over to the lathe and I'll just quickly show you exactly where I'm taking the meat off to get the standard compression back to 8:1. So first of all, we take 34 thou off this outer face, and then we want to replicate it in the bowl there. So what we do, we take our 34 thou off here. Then what I do is go over to the taper in the middle and I go in 30 thou and do that all the way down. So that's 30. And then we've got to take the 34 out the centre bowl there. So we've got 4 more thou to go. There we go. Now the reason I only go in 30 and not 34 on the taper is because we haven't quite got a 45-degree angle on this. If it was 45-degree angle there, I would go in 34. But because it's a slightly shallower angle, you don't want to go in quite so much. So what I do then is wind it in about 2 mil, go in until it touches like that, and we zero this, and I just wind it in, wind that in to 30 thou, you can see there. There we go. Then we go in with this handle, about another 2 mil, and I just go in now. I just wind it in until it matches the bit that I've just took off. And we go in another 2. To be honest, guys, I've done this that many times. I pretty much know that this is going to end up about 8:1. So what I do now is just touch on the front face of the piston, of the bowl there. We zero this. We go in 10 thou. It's actually got a 10 thou cut on that face, and we go back just to match that angle. And then we put the feed on, and that's going to feed forward. So we just keep doing that until we took the 34 thou out of there, which for all the metric heads is a bit more, between halfway through 3/4 of a mil and a mil, basically. And then that'll be, what we do is we just deburr the edge, deburr the valve cutouts, and then get this on the rod, get it in, guys. So guys, some things are sent to try us. Customer rings me up last week and said, can you face a manifold? I said, yeah, no problem. 60 quid plus the VAT. And then when they turned up with this, which is like a bunch of bananas. As you can see, each, you've got a sort of 4 into 2, which is all a bit flexible and flimsy, and you've got the steel flange which is welded on, so it's nice and hard. So yeah, this is your typical Heath Robinson setup, guys. But as you can see, we're on our last cut now, and I've managed to do it. So sometimes you look at things and you think, part of you just wants to ring them up and say, no, I can't do this. But then another part of me looks at it and thinks, I'm going to do that. But basically what I've done is 4 parallels at the back, clamped it where I can, as best I can. And so far, fingers crossed, so good. So guys, we are cracking on with the S50 build. It is Saturday afternoon at 10 to 4. And I've managed to sneak off for a couple of hours to get this thing done. So, what we got? We've got a load of new stuff from BMW, new head bolts, new head bolt washers, chain guide for the cylinder head goes in there, various bits, water pump and that, throttle bodies, you can see we've blasted all that. We've got to clean it all up, give it a lick of silver maybe, bit of black on there. We've got the old bolts here to sort out, but not that many bits left on here really. So where are we with it? You can see we've got the front cover on. So we've got the new BMW genuine guide rails and new chains, oil pump chain as well. Double chain you see there for the cam pulleys. Front cover is all cleaned up, all the bolts cleaned up, new seal, greased up, and that is all on. So one thing that I did forget to do on this, and it's a bit of a schoolboy error. Now, we faced the block. We only took about 4 thou off this block, but what I forgot to do is put the end cover on when I did it, and this thing is doweled on. There's a dowel there and a dowel back here. So when I put this on, I thought about it last night, when I put this on, because it's doweled and there's no adjustment, there was about 4 thou of protrusion from this front cover to that. So I've had to set this up on its own and take 4 thou off it, so no, it's a nice perfect sort of flush. What you're meant to do is bolt it on the end of the block and face it with the block, but I forgot to do it. Done it after and it's all sorted now, so not a problem. So that is all on, everything's where it should be. We've got the crank in, as you can see. Isaac has balanced it. There's a few balance marks on there. You can see Paul has balanced the com rods. It's got the ARP 2000 rod bolts in there. Brand new genuine main bolts, which is all torqued up to spec. So that is all good. We've got all the oil jets in, all cleaned out. So basically, pistons, rods, crank are all in. So what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to turn this over. We've still got to go over and do the clearances on the cylinder head and get the springs in, etc. And then we can get this head on the block. I wanted to get all this in today and get the front cover on, because obviously I can't put the head on without the front cover on, because obviously you've got the head gasket goes over the top of that. So the main reason for coming in today was just to get that done, get a few bits out the way, and get that cylinder head off the bench, because we're really busy and we need that room. So I just want to get that on, and then it's pretty much tall motor then. We've just got to torque the head bolts up and start bolting things on, guys, and getting bits painted. But yeah, looking absolutely fresh now. Got the new genuine core plugs in from BMW. So yeah, basically the new guide rails, new chains, tensioners, all the relevant new bolts, etc., core plugs and all that. It's about £1,000 worth of bits, to be honest with you. But it's genuine, it's going to work, and being what it is, being the money we've chucked at this, stick genuine on. We've got all the receipts, and this is probably as good as you can get, really. We normally find with the BMWs, even when we're doing a customer's engine, things like the mains, big end bolts, head bolts, timing chain kit and all that, we normally go for genuine anyway. It's not a massive amount more than aftermarket, and at least you know what you're getting, it's genuine. So yeah, it's looking really fresh, guys, really excited. So let's go over and do the clearances on the head. Well then, everyone, what is today's thumbnail and title about? Now, I haven't had a moan in a while. I've been trying to do as educational videos on this main channel as I can. Looks like pretty successful. Still getting it's a bit sort of scary when you change the format slightly, because obviously before we were doing a lot of moaning, a lot of the warranty issues and all that. It just so happens that lately, I'm going to be honest, not only have I decided to change the sort of format really, where I want to make the main channel more educational, but we haven't really had much moaning from people. We haven't had a lot of comebacks, to be honest with you. So I suppose, although we don't have the content in that respect, it's a good thing for the business. We're not having so many people having a moan. Not that I'm saying it's anything to do with us, because you know a lot of the time our videos that we do on the warranties, it turns out really it's nothing to do with us. It's just the process you have to go through. But anyway, so what brings me to do this, put this in our thumbnail and title today. So I was going through, which I do periodically, I go about every couple of months, I go through our overduers. Now we've got a lot of customers on account. Obviously the big jobs like the engines, they're not on account. We do them for punters, but we have a lot of cylinder heads and manifolds and all that repair work coming in from local garages and main dealers, etc. And they're on account. So the way we work is we give them like a 30-day account, and we normally say you've got those 30 days and then you pay on the next statement, which is like the first of every month. So we normally leave it 2, maybe sometimes 3 months, because a lot of them are reoccurring customers. We leave it a couple of months for them to pay, and then I go through my overdues and ring them up. And the reason I'm putting this in a video is because we do have the same old suspects usually that are very troublesome to pay or get payment out of. Now, which ones are they? A lot of the garages, in fairness, are good as gold. They always pay, never have to ask. There is some that I'm not sure how their account system works and what have you, but we have to sort of ring them up and then they pay straight away, either backs or card payment over the phone. Not a problem. But there are the usual people, usually I hate to say it, the smaller sort of type companies. They're a bit of a bugger. They leave it and leave it, and then when you finally ring them up, it's what was that job for? Or I'm sure I paid that, and then you have to go through the whole spiel of I'll go away and have a look and let you know when I paid it. Of course they don't get back, so we ring them up. I've gone through all our card receipts, gone through the bank, you haven't paid. I'm sure I did pay, but if I haven't, I'll tell you what, I'll get the card details off my wife or whatever, my secretary, and I'll ring you back. Of course they don't, so then you have to chase them. It goes on and on. In the end, I just throw them a court warning letter, and they usually pay then, but it's just the rigmarole. Like, if I started charging them 20 quid here and 20 quid there for admin fees, they'd be very upset about that. So yeah, we got those guys, and I'm hoping some of them know exactly who they are, so I'm hoping they're watching and they can buck their ideas up. And secondly, the second type that are hardest to get the payment out of, and I hate to say this, main dealers. Now, not all main dealers, mind, some are good as gold. The problem we got with some main dealers is they've got the order number, they've got the registration number, so you have to put all that on the invoice. Then what they'll do is they'll wait until, obviously we're small fry to them, so they'll wait a few months down the line and then they'll start to pay off things. Now, if we've got about 10 jobs we've done for them, if my accountant who matches our bank feeds doesn't match the exact payments, because some of them, bear in mind, are like the same amounts for different jobs because it's the same sort of job every time. If she doesn't mark the exact jobs that they say that they've paid for, and it doesn't marry up, you can't just ring them up and say, it's probably us, we've marked it wrong on a different job, so you just have to pay. Basically, if you send them a statement, if the jobs don't match up that they say they've paid for, they won't pay it. It will just go on and on and on. Secondly, with them, we do everything through email. They do everything through email. They give us email addresses to send either the accounts or the service department. They give us email addresses to send the statements and invoices to. You find out a month down the line that person's no longer there, or they've changed jobs, or it's another person's email you need to send it to, and it's you've sent it to the month before, no problem. A month after, by the time you get hold of them, no, you don't want to email them, you want to email these, and it's like, Christ's sake. And then you've got the accounts department, which aren't even in the same building, so then you've got to get hold of them and try and chase it all up. I mean, we've been owed by some main dealers, or a particular main dealer, we've been owed about 54 quid for about 4 years, and we ain't gonna get it because whoever dealt with it originally is no longer there. The invoices and the jobs don't match up, and you just cannot ever get anywhere with them. You speak to the accounts department, I'll sort it. it just vanishes. It just goes. You may as well write it off. So yeah, very, very frustrating, guys. I'm hoping to God that all these people know who they are and they're watching and they just put their ideas up and we can start getting paid without me having to chase payment every month. It's a nuisance. Comment down below though on what you suggest people should do or we should do. And there we have it, guys. This Cosworth is put together and all pretty much done now. All we've got to do is put the sump on. We are just waiting for an oil pump, which I think may have just arrived. We've had a delivery. But this is as far as we're going with this. So bottom end wise, we've rebored it, put 6 long studs in. We've gone through the head, new set of exhaust guides. We've cleaned and blasted everything and painted what we can. And as you can see, that is now looking nice and fresh. So that engine that had supposedly all been sort of done about, what, 9,000 miles ago or something like that, not long ago anyway, has all been done correctly now. So really looking forward to the customer having that one back. As I say, we've just got to get the sump on, hopefully get that all finished by tomorrow. And then, guys, we're going to set about doing this one. Now, this is the normally aspirated Cosworth. Got something interesting going on here. We have purchased off Dave Pritchard some nice Gem V throttle bodies. We've got Cosworth pistons also purchased from Dave that he's had sitting around, and the only thing we've got to get for those is a set of standard rings, which works absolutely perfect. The head's all been gone through, you've seen that before, so we've had that ported to a normally aspirated spec. Got the new twin chambered hydraulics to go in there, so we're doing this as a hydraulic setup, not a solid bucket setup. So this is the next one we're going to be cracking on with. Over here, as I say, the standard pistons work well with this block because we are putting the ductile iron liners in it. So we put those liners in, we're just boring, we're on the second one now, we're just boring it out to standard, so it's going to leave a nice, nice thick jacket in there, nice thick wall clearance of the bores. So we're just going to get that painted up, faced, and we can start assembling the next one, guys. This Cosworth over here, we've started on the cylinder head. I've just got to sort of have a little look through this, have a measure up and give the customer a shout. One of us is stripping the cylinder head as we speak now just to see what we've got in there. But that is going to be the next one on the go, guys. Well, once again, guys, thank you ever so much for watching today's video. Until Wednesday, or if you're tuned in on the second channel, till maybe tomorrow, depending. Have a great evening. We'll see you then. Cheers, guys.